I have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, June the 1st, and it's going to be rainy in Springfield, Missouri. We are located at the Acts Ministry headquarters in Springfield, Missouri, and I think it's supposed to rain all afternoon and tonight. And as I left this morning from my house, I went past a little lake and out where I live, and the geese and the ducks it was raining, and they were happy. They were just kind of running around chasing each other in the puddles. So great. Glad to have you here today. This is show number 61. Don, can you believe it?
Hard to believe.
No, so Don Blackard and Lynn Morris, we're proud to have you here. Every week we get more and more people watching our show. We appreciate you watching our show, whether you watch it live on Facebook or YouTube at 10 a.m., or you watch it on Twitter or Daily Motion, Rumble, or what's the other? LinkedIn. And then I think Jim Whining, our CEO, is going to throw some more. I'm just anxious. I think anytime now we're going to get 4 more social platforms, and I'm the guy that won't know how to get on them, but there's thousands of people around the world and the United States that know how to get on those social platforms. So we're lucky about that. And so we'll just keep adding more and more people. We've got a calendar of events, and Don, I'm going to kick it off. Well, have you kick it off. We got events that you can talk about first if you want to.
Okay, well, first let's talk about the Sertoma duck races. So everyone needs to go visit their website, sertomaduckrace.com. It benefits so many amazing local charities to our area around here, and you can win some phenomenal prizes, and it's a lot of fun to watch all these ducks go down, isn't it, Lynn?
Oh yeah, you can buy ducks, and if you're winning duck wins, you'll win a truck or other prizes. Lots of great prizes. I've never had a duck that knew how to swim down the river and win. I buy $100 worth of ducks, I think 7 or 8, 9 years in a row, and I don't have one duck winner. So they're not very good swimmers.
But it goes to a great cause, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. And Dogwood Ranch is one of the recipients again this year. And we've had them on our show. They do great work for young women and getting them prepared to be out on their own and stuff like that. So they're a great group. Some others that we've got going on very quickly is this Saturday in Chadwick, Missouri. A lot of people know Chadwick because it's down by the National Forest, and we have a lot of motorcycles and four-wheelers and different people going down there all the time. And so it's just a great place to spend time on a weekend. But this Saturday at 9 a.m. in Chadwick, Missouri, we'll have a parade, and Janet and I will be there throwing candy out and waving to everyone. And then after that, they'll have live music, country music, different types of things going on. There'll be political booths, there'll be craft booths, and all kinds. There'll be games. I always like to watch the turtle races and things like that. It makes me think about when I was small, and I just remember that this little kid last year, the turtle. He was supposed to have the fastest turtle, and he had won all the preliminary races. But when it got to the big final race, other turtles beat him, and this turtle just kind of kept looking around. And I asked this little boy, I said, "What happened to your turtle?" He said, "I think he got stage shock because there's all these people watching it." And so he said, "I think the turtle just got scared, and he didn't know what to do, so he didn't run." So walk. So I thought that was funny. Another thing going on coming up real soon is Choosing to Live. We're going to have Louis Michael, a good friend of ours,
Great.
Elvis impersonator, and performed in Vegas and all over the country. He's got an organization called Choosing to Live, trying to prevent suicides, and big fundraiser. And so on June 24th, you need to buy your tickets now, because by the time we have him on the show in the next week or two, all the tickets may be sold. But they have bought the entire movie theater at the Alamo Draft House in Springfield. Beautiful, beautiful theater. The Elvis premiere is on June the 24th, the movie, Elvis movie. And so you're going to be able to get a ticket, popcorn and pop. And then if you want to spend $50 other, you can buy a chance to win a classic Corvette. Louis Michael's giving away his own classic Corvette. So there's all kinds of things. And it's going to be from 6 to 10. and just a lot of fun that night. That's in Springfield, Missouri. And you can just go to choosingtolive.org, and sign up for that, buy your tickets. Then we got another one, Springfield Community Forum. That is June the 7th, so that's coming up right away, and it's from 6 p.m. to 7:30, and that's at Campbell United Methodist Church. It's on East Republic Road, and it's sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association. They're going to be talking about dementia and Alzheimer's, things that really affect a lot of older folks and even some of the younger folks. And so great discussions going on that night. It's free. You can just call 1-800-272-3900 and sign up for that. You need to register, but it's free. And that's good. And we got one more I think we're going to talk about.
Yes, so excited. Light the Way Music Festival is coming to town July 15th and 16th, and we are going to have Crowder. We are so blessed that they're coming to our community. And John Wilson, who runs that organization, is looking for volunteers that want to work this. I mean, this is a labor of love. You know, I really think this is a spark of revival. He's really been putting that out there. And the volunteer deadline is June 10th.
Right.
June 10th. So we have 10 days. Call 417-319-1338 and talk to them if you are looking to volunteer at that concert.
Yeah, that concert I think is July 14th and 15th. Is that correct?
It says July 15th and 16th.
15th and 16th.
And it's I like the line, Church Outside the Walls.
Right. Church Outside the Walls. They're the group that has done it in Rogersville for several years, and they would draw 25 to 40,000 people in a 2-day event. This year, unfortunately, that land was sold, and so they are now at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. And I've already got my tickets for both nights. Crowder is a group that plays this Louisiana Bayou type music. The beat is just awesome. The Christian's words are
very
just awesome.
Anointed.
Yeah. So it's a great group. One of my wife's favorite groups. So we'll be there, and I think Don, you're going to be there.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to have a great time. Okay, well, I think that's enough of the calendar events. If you have something coming on, then let us know. Let us know what you need to let all the other people know. There's so many great things going on in Southwest Missouri and around the country. So we appreciate that. Well, we've got special guests today, Don. I tell you what, I really appreciate Mike and Jackie. Deans, is Deans?
Correct.
Deans. Okay, I wanted to put an M on it, but I corrected it on Facebook. But so I was trying to change your last name. But you guys are with Ozark Shoot Don't Shoot Solutions.
That's correct. We are the owners.
The owners of it, and appreciate it. And you're a Marine.
I am a Marine, a Vietnam vet. Yes.
Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for all the veterans out there watching today. This country and world would not be the same, be much differently if we hadn't had all the people that served throughout the different wars, including my co-host here. She's an Iraqi war veteran. I'm always I'm always proud of her too. So really a great thing. So tell us, Mike, a little bit about Ozark Shoot Don't Shoot. You house out of Ozark, Missouri. Your business, but how did you get started doing that, and why?
Well, it's been a dream of mine for 35 years to do something like this since I first was in front of a simulator in the 1980s, last century, as a law enforcement officer. And so when Jackie and I got married about 7 years ago, we made it happen. So Ozark Shoot Don't Shoot Solutions was born in 2016. And we bought our first Milo, a Milo Pro then. And then later on, we have another Milo called the Milo Advance. And the Milo Pro is stationary at our shooting room in Highlandville. And the Milo Advance we take on the road with us to churches, hospitals, law enforcement agencies, homes, conferences. And we train people when to shoot and when not to shoot, and what the ramifications are. Not really how to shoot. You do that at the range with live ammo. But with us, you need to identify your target, know when to shoot, when to pull your weapon, when not to. And the ramifications in 2022 now are much different when you're in a lethal or non-lethal event than it was in the 1980s and 70s.
Well, and the reason why for the audience out there, we've got great people all over the United States and the world watching. You know, our country has changed, the world has changed, and unfortunately, we're just seeing way too many of these mass shootings. You know, back in 2012, when I first was elected as a state representative, that very first year, you guys will remember this, but you just didn't tag it to 2012. We started having shootings in theaters. In 2012, we started having shootings in theaters. Now, you know, when you're eating popcorn and you're having a drink, pop, and you're watching Top Gun. I mean, you're watching some fantastic show. You're just having fun with your family and friends and things like that. You would never expect that somebody would come into a theater and perform mass shootings and kill people. And so that's the year in 2012 in Missouri legislature, and every year since that time, we've increased the spending on mental health. We had a low, I mean, it was still in the millions, but but people considered it a low investment spend in the state of Missouri. And since that time, we've increased it, and we still have all these mental health issues. That's not the only problem and reason, but these mass shootings started in theaters, and now they go to grocery stores, they go to schools, they go to concerts. They seem to go where they think there's a weak spot, where there's not very many people watching or have guns that can you know, stop the shootings. So we saw, Don and I were just looking at this folder before we started the show. You've got over 1,000 scenarios that you can show people.
Yes, we have over 1,000 scenarios. We have fun stuff. We have serious stuff. We have competition targets. We have zombies. So we can do parties and date night and stuff. But we have the very serious stuff where people they go through a shock and awe when they go to our shoot room because it's so realistic. There's blood, there's yelling, there's screaming, there's people coming at you with a knife or yelling or coming at you with a fist or shooting at you. You don't get that at the range. So your response has to be immediate. Otherwise, you die in a real event. So this is the closest that you can get to a real event to prepare your mind and your soul and your body to react in an appropriate, legal, moral way as fast as you can in a split second, because that's all you have to react to save yourself or others.
You know, one thing that I've done, of course, I don't know exactly. I'm a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, and some of the things that I remember some of the highway patrol. We did some simulation shooting and got to do laser shooting two or three times as the state representative, going to different places, and they would set up things for us. And I always thought that was really cool. So I think your place would be super cool to have somebody go and
it's really it's really fun, but it's really appropriate. It's really timing that there's a need out there for this type of training. Keep in mind that your event may happen during the daytime, nighttime, raining, snow. So we have scenarios that we can change the weather in also. And we have flashlights where we can make it nighttime, where you just put up the LED flashlight and all you see is that circle of light when you're walking into a building or you're walking into your home or you're doing a check on your house in the basement after you heard something. Our weapons are HR-17s and Cert guns, and we have a couple of AR-15s. There's no recoil. We control the sound of the shot. So therefore, this is really a perfect place for somebody who's entering the gun world for the first time. They're not so scared. There's no live ammo. There's no recoil, and they can concentrate on when to shoot and when not to shoot.
You know, Mike, I probably need to take Janet over there. I'm really proud of her. I took her several years ago when they started to conceal and carry, and she really had never handled a pistol or anything before, and she's kind of afraid of it. And we went over there and took a very comprehensive conceal and carry. I know I've heard some weren't very detailed classes, but this was a good one. And when we got out onto the range, we got to shoot more than one type of pistol, 2 or 3 different types of pistols, a long rifle. They had several different selections. You could shoot your own gun, but you couldn't shoot your own gun the whole time. You had to pick other guns. So I thought all that was good. You had to learn how to load different types of guns and unload them and things like that. So even though my wife was probably afraid and she didn't like it, at least she got training and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. Jackie, so tell the people about you. So were you used to guns before you married Mike?
No, I wasn't. So it's a whole different world for me. I was dealing with antiques and flea markets, and so he came along and we decided to do this because this was his dream. So
Did you find him in an antique flea market or something?
I did find him at a garage sale.
At a garage sale. See, there you go.
And he was the cheapest one there, so we were able to take him. I was able to take him home.
So she started dating me.
Well, hey, that's funny. That's really good. I saw something on Facebook the other day I thought was really good. My wife likes to shop at Target, and I've gone in there once or twice, but it's way too busy, way too busy for me, and way too many women in there. But here's what I heard. I saw on Facebook. This woman was saying, I don't know why men go to bars to find women when all they got to do is go to Target and there's 25 women to every man. And so I'm thinking, wow, that's a pretty smart thing, So I thought that's funny. So you hadn't really shot weapons. So now are you trained to shoot weapons too?
I have been trained and doing the scenarios. It's been very eye-opening for me.
Right.
So
one of the things that I think for both of you guys and for everybody that's listening today, I think we need to be more aware of our situations. I tell my 6 grandkids this all the time. Don't just go into a room and don't look around. Don't go into a bus and not look around. Don't go into a taxi. Don't go anywhere and not look around your surroundings. Look behind you. Look to the side of you. I even go in, and I don't know exactly why, but when I started doing this, but a theater or a restaurant or wherever I go into, I always look to see where the exit doors are. Because they do that at the airplane when you're getting ready to go sail off on an airplane, take off. They show you where the exits are. They show you how the lights work on the floor.
Sure.
They tell you about stuff. Okay. Well, you need to pay attention. And I think that's the way we need to, unfortunately, in life today is pay attention, because you just go in there and slump down someplace and then something happens. And then what do you do? Because like you said, you got a split second to make your mind up. And so that's what those scenarios are really good for, because it's training your mind how to react. Because if you can't react properly and very, very quickly, you'll make the wrong move.
Lynn, situational awareness. I am always preaching that, because you just have to have it as a constant mindset. We don't live in a day and age anymore. You can just kind of put your head down and, be oblivious to your surroundings. You always have to be aware. And, you start to identify who could potentially be a problem. You can kind of just sense it. And I'm that person that when I go to the restaurant, I don't put my back to everybody. Yeah. I'm in the farthest booth, back where I can see everything. And, that's just what everybody needs to.
If you're going shopping, if a female is going shopping by herself, make eye contact as you go by. Don't put your head down. Yeah. Just be aware.
Yes. Yeah, that's such a good point. I always tell my son, you see a sketchy person, you don't act like you don't see him. You're like, watching you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, and I think more awareness every day. Unfortunately, that's the way our country is leading to, and maybe we can make some changes. We're going to talk about some changes. We're going to talk about training, but is it time, Matt, to talk about our sponsors today?
Yep.
Okay, time. Okay, well, we've got 2 great sponsors. We're going to be adding another one in June. He's actually going to be on the show. But right now we have Brad Pasteau. He is a certified fiduciary financial planner right in Ozark, Missouri on North Former Road. And he is the best person. I've got my money all my retirement money and Janet's retirement money we have with Brad Pasteau. He is the president of Trinity Insurance and Financial Services. Get the paper and pencil ready. His phone number is 417-581-9222. And when you call that number, 581-9222, Lisa or Hunter will answer the phone. Hunter is the son who also sells securities and Medicare insurance. And so they've got you covered for retirement, investments, and Social Security. But you'll get a book. He'll send you a book. They will send you a book called Safe Money Matters, which is a #1 Amazon retirement book. And also he wrote another book that was published in December at the same time Don's first book was published, and it's called Bulletproof. And so right now, with the stock market that's gone down over 20%, I haven't lost a penny. In fact, I'm still making money. And so with his plans, you never lose money on the downside. You don't have to worry about it. We go into a recession a year from now or whenever it's going to happen. If it happens, hope it doesn't. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. May not make as much money, but you're not going to lose a penny of your investment. So really highly recommend Brad Pasteau. He's the guy that can help you, and he is right in Ozark, Missouri. If you're not in Missouri, he's also licensed in Kansas and Oklahoma, and I think one other state, 4 states he's licensed in, but he has associates, friends in other states. And so he can hook you up with somebody that can help you. Our other sponsor that's been on the show, both these guys have been on our show, is John Youngblood. And John Youngblood and John Whittaker own Youngblood Motor Group in Springfield, Missouri. 43 plus years in family owned business right here in Springfield, Missouri. Their phone number is 417-882-3838. 882-3838. They have new cars on one side of South Campbell. On the other side, they have a tremendous selection of used cars. We know how expensive cars are today. Most of these are certified cars that you can know and depend that they're going to go down the road without a bunch of repairs and things like that. One of the things that we've when we had John Whittaker on our show, he talked about an electric car that really piqued my interest, because I'm not interested in electric cars that they have to find a charging station somewhere. I don't have 3 or 4 hours to drive someplace and then start to run out of electricity power and then having to charge the car. He actually has one that has a generator that recharges itself while it's going down the road when it converts from electric to gas and then back to electric as it has regenerated its own battery. So I kind of like that. I'll probably buy my next car. I bought my last 2 Jeeps, Grand Cherokees, from John Youngblood and John Whittaker, and I'll probably do that again. So we're going to have, and you guys now know this, we're having a party, and I did talk to John Whittaker. It's either going to be towards the end of July or the first part of August, trying to get it before school starts again. And we're going to have a party out at their place on South Campbell in the showroom. So they'll take all the cars out. We're going to have music. We've got several groups that have been here that are great musicians. We're going to have live music. We're going to have lots of great food, and we're just going to have a great time, because you guys are difference makers. You truly are difference makers. And Don, what are you always looking for?
Be the change.
Be the change. And when you are being the change and you are a difference maker, you are contributing and helping a lot of people in this country.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we like.
Lynn, good idea. Maybe they could set up the simulator.
Well, hey, that would be
at
cool.
the party.
And that way people would really like that. We're going to have this big network of very important people from all walks of life that's doing great things. We're all going to have it in the same building this summer, just getting to know each other, and you'll make new contacts and new business contacts, new friend contacts. I think that's going to be great. So
that sounds great.
Yeah. So we're going to have fun doing that. That's something we're going to try to do every year. Now that we've completed 1 year plus, we thought we'd do that every year. So that's
exciting. My vote's July.
July.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of figuring out maybe the last Friday in July or the first Friday in August. We have to do it during about that time period. Okay. So we're going to do that. That's going to be kind of cool. Okay. Well, let's go back and talk about what we need to do to stay safe. I think that's basically the theme.
Well, I was very encouraged to hear that you guys do like corporate training. You do big church training. You know, you guys do more than outside of the individual, which the individual's great. But I like hearing that the big churches are getting involved in when to shoot and when not to shoot, because you need that muscle memory. You need to already have it ingrained in you, because when adrenaline's pumping and you're under a really high stress scenario, you need to already have been, you know, executing this plan, and it will help you out tremendously. Don't you agree?
Yes, and most churches do have their security teams operational. Some of them are just developing them, but there's a process in that. They have to develop their paperwork, their policies and procedures. They have to vet these people that come in that are going to be authorized to carry a weapon in the middle of a bunch of friendlies. Really, the atmosphere of a church where you're carrying a gun is so much different than the atmosphere on the street when you're an officer or when you're in Walmart. Everything is close by. And keep in mind, these are relatives and friends of the people in the church. And if they have to shoot somebody coming down the hallway with a knife in between their family and friends, that's a psychological effect. Okay, it's easy to shoot at the range, but can you shoot somebody as they are striking your relative or your friend and hit him where you will not hit an innocent being? That is the problem. When you hit an innocent being, then guilt comes in. We talk about guilt too, because guilt comes in whether it's a good shooting or a bad shooting. Guilt will affect you if you have a good heart, if you have a good soul. We don't want to hurt anybody, but we have a right to defend our family, our flock. So we want people to become sheepdogs, not sheep.
So when they're on the simulator, you can, once they have a scenario in front of them, you can kind of tell, and they find out, can they actually shoot someone? So as we walk through and go through a few more scenarios, they get more comfortable. They understand a little bit more. Mike takes his time to debrief each one, what you could do, where you can move. So he does a really good job, and they become more confident.
And there's more options than shooting. Shooting is the last resort.
Absolutely.
We talk about options. Could you have backed out? Could you have gone around that car in a road rage? You can't shoot and drive at the same time. Would it be appropriate to use your car as a weapon if you need to get away? What do you say on 911 right after the event? You're going to be in shock. We talk about that. When do you talk to officers about what happened? So we go over not only what you do to prep and prepare and during, but after the event, because you're in shock. Do you really want to talk to an officer right away, or do you want to go to the ER? Right. And so we talk about your rights as a citizen, because the citizens have never had the opportunity, like law enforcement and military, to be in front of the simulator. We're bringing it to the public. That's what we want to do. The public needs to learn and needs to survive, not only physically, but mentally, civilly, criminally, news media wise, that follows the event.
And I love the saying, no good deed goes unpunished.
Yes.
Because you could be put in a scenario that you're doing the right thing, but there's still ramifications for that. And you
Correct.
need to know what your rights are, and you need to know the ins and outs, like he's saying. I think that's so important.
That's very important. And if someone has been a long time shooter, they've been used to shooting at the grass or little animals or still targets out in their backyard. It's a lot different if they're being placed in a scenario and they're shooting at a person.
I cannot count the many times when I hear from old Marines or hunters, oh, I've been around a gun all my life. And, I've been shooting rifles and everything. Well, tell me, how many gunfights have you been in? Have you been in the military? Have you been in law enforcement? Oh, that doesn't matter. It does matter.
It does matter, I'm
sure. And you continue training. I am better trained now at 71 than I was at 30. let me tell you. So this is where it's at. We continue training, do not stop training. And the females, the wives, they need to train because guess what? Their husband could be wounded or worse. And then it's up to them to survive.
Right. You know, one of the things I think that, so way to start the second half out, Don, this is really good. But one of the things that we also need the public to understand, everyone that's watching today, that even though you're trying to do the right thing and you've got a split second to make that decision, something could happen that you didn't intend to happen.
Correct.
And so you recommend an insurance company or two that can help protect you if for some reason somebody wants to bring a charge against you after an event.
We do. We've been involved with U.S. Law Shield and USCCA for quite some time. Both of them are good. Law enforcement officers may tend to go to U.S. Law Shield because it protects them in uniform. Okay, but whatever you do, folks, get insurance to cover you and your family, multi-state, especially if you travel. It is very affordable insurance, and they will give you training. They will give you advice. There's seminars in the area. Just pick one and make a critical, decisive decision and do it now, because you never know when it's going to happen, because you'll have that phone number that you can get a hold of a vetted homicide attorney. You don't want an uncle or nephew who takes care of tickets at the courtroom to take care of your murder case. You want a vetted homicide attorney, and both of these companies, U.S. Law Shield and USCCA, have those resources to help you through this, also concerning bond, because a good shooting could be also a bad shooting, because an innocent could be hurt. And don't forget, we're in a changing world, right?
Right.
Politics, depending on where you're at, in what state, in what county. If you're up in New York, it may go another way. If you're in Texas or Missouri, it may go another way. So whatever you do, just imagine and just assume you're being filmed and witnessed, and you act appropriately.
And make sure that you are the reporter. If an incident happens, you make the report first.
Yes.
Because if
Okay.
you don't, if the other person reports something that happened, then you're going to be.
Well, that's
the
good
victim.
advice. That's good advice.
Yeah, if you have a confrontation like a road rage, we have road rage and all kinds of stuff on our seminars, on our scenarios, but you need to call 911 right away. That makes you the reportee. And then if this other person who pulled the gun on you calls later and they make up another story, then the officers can put together the investigation and show that you called first. And they'll find out what happened. But in any case, if you can, call 911 first, or have somebody else call 911 first if that is good for you. Because sometimes you may not want to say anything on 911. It's recorded and you're in shock.
Right. Well, and you know, this is kind of like home insurance to protect you, say, from a fire. You don't buy insurance after you have a house fire.
Yes,
You
sir.
don't buy car insurance after you have a bad accident that completely totals your car. You don't do that. You got to buy the insurance ahead of time. And then you hope that you never have to use the insurance.
Correct.
No one wants their car tore up in a wreck. They don't want their house burnt down. They don't want their house broken into. And you don't want to have a mishap with a weapon. But just like you said a while ago, you've got your family member and they've got a bad person grabbing a hold of them, and you're trying to shoot the bad person, and you know, and maybe you hit an innocent person on the other side. It just can happen so quick, and so you never know. So I would highly recommend having some type of insurance too. So
Yes, sir.
I think that'd be
Well, and
be
going through
very
your
good.
simulator is like an insurance in a way, because you have, when you don't know how you'll react in chaos, you just don't know. And you can think that you're going to be just fine, but this kind of gives you and just prepares you just in case you're ever put in that scenario, that it's ingrained in you.
And remember, when we were in boot camp, your confidence was built. They built your confidence. You were determined. You were confident, self-confident, and that's what the Milo does. It it shows you that you can overcome, that you have that grit, that courage, and that you are going to be able to overcome whatever happens to you. And so it's just great training. You can't beat it.
And that's why we recommend 2 hours instead of 1, because you're just getting used to holding the weapon and shooting and understanding what Mike is debriefing about.
It
So,
goes fast.
Mhm.
The 2 hours go fast.
And
So
then
how many people can you accommodate at one time? I mean,
Well,
can you
we-
accommodate 6, 8, 10 people?
Well, we can do seminars of
Uh,
10 to 30 people in our location. We train at least 2. We can train 4 at a time, where 2 are up on the line and 2
Uh-huh.
are watching, and they
Okay.
rotate, because
Okay.
you're learning while you're observing. And
Right.
during the debriefing, then we want their input. What is going through their mind? What are they processing while they are watching a guy running at them with a knife or shooting at them? And your mind can be tricked. When you're in front of a video and you're being shot at, your accuracy is not as good at the range, where you're just,
Right.
it is stress induced. Your blood pressure goes up, your heart starts to beat, and it's almost like the real thing. So, but we do 2 to 4 at a time. We do families, we do events, cost $40 an hour per person. So 2 hours a person, you have 2 people up there. That's $160. No ammo costs. Very safe.
if it's an event, the price is different.
The price is different, and we negotiate that depending. We do a lot of church events, so it is a lot of fun too. The kids love it. We have kids that shoot on it,
Yeah.
depending on their maturity and their
Mhm.
ability. We've had
Mhm.
6 and 7-year-olds just shoot
Mhm.
the heck out of that thing.
Usually it's just the fun stuff,
Yeah.
the competition or the skill builders.
Exactly.
Right. So tell people, how do they get a hold of you? How do they contact you?
Okay. Our website is ozarkshoot.com, and our phone number is 417-986-3927. We are, and let's see, our website, I already told you. We are on Facebook also,
Okay.
and we like for people to call, and then I talk. I ask some questions to do a little vetting, see what their background is, and according to their background, whether they're an officer or a church security or truck driver, we try to custom make or develop our scenarios that fit their livelihood. So we try to custom make their training according to what they may be involved in.
So you do businesses, churches,
Yes, sir.
individuals. I mean, everyone could use and utilize your training. And it
Yes.
could save their life or one of their friends' lives or family
Yes.
members' lives. I mean,
Do you want to talk about that? This that's coming up. Are you part of that?
Yes, this is the Faith-Based Security Network Conference that's coming in here to Springfield, July 28th to the 30th. Faith-Based Security Network is a national organization of church security operators and pastors and leaders. And we get together every year, and we have fantastic speakers. And you can go to fbsn/america.com and look that up. It'll be at Evangel from the 28th to the 30th. And we'll have Colonel Grossman there and Pastor Frank Pomeroy from the Southern Springs church in Texas that was hit by the tragedy a few years ago, which we did train their team. And the West Freeway Church also in Texas last year. And so there's a lot of networking and intel information, good training, workout groups. But we're also going to have training here in June and July in Springfield. We're partnered with MSU, and we are going to be putting law enforcement officers and retired officers and civilians through our scenarios trainings up there at the Meyer Alumni Center at 300 South Jefferson Avenue. And you can call Cody Burrington at 417-836-8974. and that'll be in June and July, and the dates are on our Facebook.
June 25th and July 16th.
Yes, we have the CCW and the retired officers on June 25th and July 16th, and the law enforcement on June 21st and July 12th.
Okay.
Call us, and we will make sure that you have all the information, or call Cody.
So there's lots of great training sessions and things going on. I don't think you can ever get enough training.
No, sir.
One of the things I was disappointed in the legislature the 8 years I served was, I believe in the conceal and carry. I believe in all the things that we've done, but I didn't like it when we took out the training required. Now you can carry a pistol carry a gun without any training, and I think that was bad for the public. I just personally think that you shouldn't be carrying a gun unless you are trained how to do it.
There are so many.
It's just dangerous.
There are so many new guns out there, and people think that just because they got a CCW or they know how to pull the trigger, the important thing is when to shoot and when not to shoot.
And I like that. I like your total concept of you know, that's the last resort, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you're not trigger happy and wanting to shoot
No.
people just because you have a gun, you know, and I think that the people you're representing are all good people. Unfortunately, we have a very small percentage of bad people who can kill anyone, and I don't know how they do it, but you're training the good people to protect themselves and others around them.
The good law-abiding citizens. That's who we train. Yes, sir.
Originally, his idea of training was to have an advanced CCW class. So once you get done with CCW, then you go through the simulator to get more training.
Yeah. See, I think I'd like that.
And so that's what I would love the state to do. And but we are hoping to use a simulator in other areas for PTSD, for first responders and military. And there's just so many things that we can do to help people stay alive. That's our mission. Stay alive. That's ozarkshoot.com is our website. And that is our mission.
And phone number one more time?
417 417-986-3927.
3927.
ozarkshoot.com. Thank you.
Well, I tell you what, that's just awesome. Thank you,
And if you have a
guys.
question for them, you can send it to ozarkshoot@gmail.com and they can
Yes.
answer. And I just love that you guys go to different locations so that you travel. And I'm sure you would travel quite the distance if people were willing to pay too. So even if you're not in the area, don't be afraid to reach out and
Right.
at least talk to them about what they've got going on.
Yeah, especially the tourists that are coming down here to Branson. We're very close to Branson, and we travel in the immediate states surrounding this state of Missouri. So we're ready to go help
Yeah.
people.
Well, it looks like we've got crime. We talked about shootings in Ozark, Missouri.
We don't have to go far, do we?
We've had two murders in the last 3 or 4
Well,
days.
I think it's such a misconception that people think, Lynn, oh, we live in a good area or this. Crime is everywhere.
It is.
It's in everyone's backyard and there's no escaping it because we are human and humans are flawed. And so sometimes they lose it, and you need to be prepared to not be a victim when that happens.
Well, my son-in-law, Pat Gray, down in Forsyth, he works for the Branson Police Department, and he's the lead detective. And right now, with tourism just starting, it starts even a busier season for him, much
Sure.
busier for him, and they have a lot of issues down there too. So we do all over the country. And again, thank you for training people how to be prepared and know what to do in a split second, because you don't have a lot of time. You don't have time to go read something, a book or little cheat sheet thing that you've got to know mentally what to do. And if you don't do it beforehand, you won't be able to do it. And your whole life can depend on it.
That's
And
correct.
so we appreciate that, and we're still keeping all the families in our prayers down in Texas. Funerals are starting, and somehow we're going to come up with a solution. We didn't discuss that today, but we're not afraid to discuss positive solutions, and we'll do that at some point once all the information's found out. I don't think we found it out yet. So
There's a lot to it.
yeah, everyone have a great day and a great week, and we'll be back next Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Do I hear a hallelujah?